It was beyond my wildest imagination that I would one day become the notorious RBG. If I am notorious, it is because I had the good fortune to be alive. For the first time in history, it became possible to urge before courts that equal justice requires all arms of government to regard women as persons equal in stature.
Did you know that Ruth Bader Ginsburg once took on beer laws to tackle gender discrimination? Yep. In 1971, Oklahoma thought it made perfect sense to let women buy beer at 18 but require men to stay dry until 21. RBG looked at that nonsense and said, "Hold my legal brief." It wasn't about the beer, though let's be honest, beer is important. It was about equality. RBG knew that fighting gender discrimination wasn't about swinging for one big knockout punch. It was about dismantling it, piece by piece, using the law wherever it tried to hide, no matter how small or ridiculous it seemed. RBG understood the system, how laws are created, challenged, and overturned, and she used that knowledge to make real change. In this episode, we're cracking open the basics of legal research, the same tools Ruth used to take down bad laws and become the notorious RBG. You ready? Because understanding the fundamentals is where every great argument starts.
I was a terror since the public school era. Bathroom passes, cutting classes, squeezing asses. Smoking blunts was a daily routine since 13. A chubby brother on the scene. I used to have the tray deuce and the deuce in my bubble goose. Now I got the Mac in my knapsack, lounging black, smoking sacks up in accent sidekicks with my sidekicks, rocking fly kicks.
Do I call you Lady Justice?
You can just call me Justice.
Just Justice?
Just Justice.
Well played, Lady Justice.
Chill. Can't we just all get along so I can put hickeys on her chest like little Sean? Get a pissy drunk off a Dom Perignon, and it's on, and I'm gone.
Think laws are complicated? Wait until you meet their four parents: the Constitution, statute, case law, and administrative regulation. Like a dysfunctional family, they're all trying to run the house, and sometimes they fight. A lot. First up, the Constitution. Think of this as like the head of the family. They set the rules for everyone else in the household that they have to follow. It's the cornerstone of everything, laying down the framework for how the family functions. But like any strong family leader, the Constitution leaves room for others, like case law and administrative regulations, to help interpret and apply those rules in specific situations. When RBG argued Reed versus Reed, she wasn't just quoting the family patriarch for the sake of it. She was using the Constitution, specifically the Equal Protection Clause of the 14th Amendment, as a powerful tool to dismantle gender discrimination. By crafting a precise and compelling argument, she showed how the head of the family could still evolve with the times, addressing injustices in ways that fundamentally changed the game. That's the power of constitutional law. It's not just the foundation of the legal family, it's the guiding force that shapes case law and regulations, driving progress and ensuring justice one case at a time. Next up are statutes. Think of these as the family's big, bold declarations, the grand rules laid down by our elected officials to address major societal issues. Like when Congress passed the Civil Rights Act of 1964, it was a bold move to tackle discrimination and change the game. But here's the thing. Statutes may look powerful on paper, but they're just a starting point. Without someone to interpret and apply them, they can be vague, confusing, or just downright unenforceable. And this is where case law comes in. So think of judges as the wise interpreters of the family rules, stepping in to clarify what statutes really mean and how they should work in real-life situations. Though through their rulings, they create precedents, case law that future decisions rely on. For example, in Brown versus Board of Education, the Supreme Court took the idea of equal protection under the law from the Constitution and statutes and used it to strike down segregation in schools. RBG knew the power of precedent. She famously said there was no precedent for gender discrimination cases, so we just had to create one. Translation: She's a badass. And then there are the administrative regulations, the detail-oriented parents of the legal family. They might not be flashy, but they're essential. Agencies like the EPA and the FDA take statutes and translate them into specific actionable rules. These regulations, they dictate everything from how much pollution a factory can release to what standards your food has to meet. Without them, the family would descend into chaos, smog-filled cities, and questionable leftovers. Together, statutes, case law, and administrative regulations all form a legal system. Statutes set the vision, case law refines it and applies it, and regulations fill in the gaps, keeping the whole family functioning smoothly. Each one has a unique role. They all work together to uphold justice and ensure order in the legal world. So now you know where the rules come from, but who makes it, enforces it, and interprets these laws?